Okay, so now I want to show you how you're going to make feathers for your bird. You could use all sorts of different materials. We're going to use paper for ours. So what you want to do is you want to look at your bird picture again on your device or in a picture, excuse me. And you want to notice like what is the main color of your bird. Some birds have multiple colors. Just pick the color that there's the most of. A cardinal, which is the bird I'm working on, is mostly red, so I've picked red. But I'm also going to look at the other colors that are present in the bird. Ignore the beak. You don't have to worry about the beak right now. But I see red. Okay, so I know that I'm going to need a red marker, so I'm going to get red. I see brown, so I'm also going to get some brown. And I do see black, so I'm going to get black. And I see a little bit of white, and I don't have a white marker, so I'm going to be really smart and I'm going to use a white crayon. Okay, so I have all those colors, and then the main color, the color I would say that there's the most of, would be red. So I'm going to get a red sheet of paper. Okay, so now that I have all those items, I've got my paper here. What I want to do is I just want to create texture, and you can create texture however you like. Usually we create what this is called implied texture, so it's not texture you actually touch, it's just texture you see. Texture you touch would be like touching an actual feather, feeling what that feels like. We're making something look like it has the texture of a feather, and that's called implied texture. So you want to take one of your markers, and you can start with any color you want. I like to start with the color that there's the most of on the bird, and we know that's red. And so even though it's on red paper, it'll still leave a mark. And I'm just going to create some texture. Now, your texture could be hearts or stars. When I think about bird feathers, though, I do think about how they have these sort of lines on them. So I'm just going to do a bunch of these lines. So now I want to look at what's another color that there's a lot of. Now, a lot of my cardinal is just red. So that's important to note that it's mostly red in a lot of places, but some places there's brown and some places there's black. So I want to add some brown and black. Okay, so I would get my brown marker. And you could do this with crayons too. It doesn't have to be markers. You can do it with paint. I'm just gonna add a little bit of brown, and I'm not gonna add it all over the paper. I'm just gonna add it in one section of the paper, because I probably don't want all my feathers to have brown on them. Like these feathers down here don't have, it's hard to see. These feathers down here don't have as much brown as these feathers up here, so I don't want all my feathers to be the same color, and so we're just gonna put on part of your paper. Then I wanna add a little bit of black. And black is one of those colors, because it's so dark, it really shows up. So be careful, and you don't want to get to a place where you're like, oh, I had too much black. And there's not that much on my bird that's really that dark, so I'm not going to put black everywhere either. And then there's some parts on my bird that are white, but those places that are white, there we go, right in here, they're also a little bit of brown too. So I'm just going to go in my area that has red and brown, and add some white. Now I've created some implied texture for my feathers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my paper over. Okay, and you could use anything. I'm just going to use my white crayon because it's right here. And you want to create some lines. These lines are going to help us make our feathers. And you want some lines to be closer together and some farther apart, because some feathers will be bigger and some will be smaller. So I might do a bigger feather here. This is going to be a smaller feather. You notice that my lines are not straight. I'm not really worried about that. Okay. There we go. So I've got some big ones in there. And then what you'll do is you're just going to go in and make these little shapes. Don't waste your paper. Make sure that each one touches the other one. And these are going to be your feathers. Once you have quite a few, you're going to get a pair of scissors, and you're just going to start cutting these out. I'm going to show you a really cool trick to cutting them out though. If you turn it and you cut on this line, okay, now I've got my scratch over there, feather over here, scratch over there, feather over here, scratch over there, feather over here, scratch over there, feather over here. Oh, and look, one turned over, so that's perfect. So see, as you cut them out, you'll get these really beautiful feathers with lots of cool textures in them that you'll be able to glue onto your bird in a minute. So I want you to go ahead and cut out as many feathers as you can, okay?